President of the United States is accusing the Mueller investigation, the special investigation here, of potentially meddling in the 2018 midterm elections. Let me read you what the president just wrote. The 13 angry Democrats, plus people who worked 8 years for Obama, what he's talking about there is the Mueller investigation, working on the rigged Russia witch hunt, will be meddling with the midterm elections, especially now the Republicans are taking the lead in polls. There was no collusion except by the Democrats. Joining me now, CNN political analyst, former Republican congressman from Pennsylvania, Charlie Dent. Congressman, thanks so much for being with us. Look, you were there a few weeks ago. You were in Congress until a few weeks ago. When the president makes a statement like that, which is not true, is a lie, what's the reaction inside the walls of Congress, inside the Republican caucus?
Well, I would say, John, that most members who are in marginal or swing districts know they have a tough midterm cycle, the Mueller probe notwithstanding. Candidly, I don't believe that the Mueller probe and the Russia issue is what's going to drive this midterm. I believe there are other issues. I think health care is going to be a very big issue. Tax reform in some districts could be a big issue. Bottom line is, I think many of our constituents kind of see this Russia issue right now as a bit muddled. People have fixed views. Some think it's a noble cause. Others think it's a witch hunt. So I don't really think that's going to drive the election. Bottom line, it's going to be a tough election cycle because Republicans have been underperforming in all the special elections.
Has Paul Ryan and House leadership, though, allowed this to happen, created a safe space where the president can say things like this?
Well, look, this midterm election is going to be a referendum on the President of the United States and his conduct in
Sometime in
office.
early to mid-January, the president's legal team sat down with the special counsel, and at that time, the president's legal team really wanted to get this investigation of the president over with. And so they were talking about a potential interview. And the special counsel suggested a date, Saturday, January 27th, an interview that would last anywhere between 4 and 5 hours, we were told. And the president's team just kind of sat there and took it all in. And then when they got back together, they were actually to the point where they were thinking, where can we have this interview? Maybe we should have it at Camp David to keep it kind of private. Eventually, though, on January 29th, 2 days after the interview was supposed to take place, John Dowd, who was then the president's lead attorney, wrote them a 20-page letter saying absolutely not.
This was the attorney before Rudy Giuliani came into this.
Right, exactly.
So it's a different set of attorneys for all practical purposes.
Well, no, Jay Sekulow was still an attorney then, but the point was that they actually came up with a date. They were seriously talking about an interview, and then it all fell apart. And one of the reasons was because the lawyers on Trump's side disagreed about what to do.
So it's clear that Mueller's team, they wanted this interview back in January. Now it's May.
Right, exactly, Wolf. It really shows you how perhaps this is as close as they ever got. This is, as far as we're told, this is the first time and the only time that they've actually discussed an actual date, which was January 27th. It was a Saturday. And there was a lot going on at that time, but there was certainly signs that the investigation was intensifying and the talks were intensifying, trying to find a way to wrap this investigation up. And look, if it had gone ahead on January 27th, as the discussion had decided, it's quite possible that all of this, the obstruction investigation, all of this stuff might be behind us now. The president's legal team is still obviously still in negotiations with the special counsel. And as far as we can tell, they're now farther away than they ever were in January from ever even getting to an agreement on an interview. The most recent talks we've heard that they've been trading proposals, and it just seems like they're further away now than they were in January, which again, they even had come up with some logistics of having it in Camp David.